Hello and welcome back to the Academy of the Magical Art. I am Frater Ophiel, and this is part two of the series that we are doing on magical tools, or the tools of the magical art. We left off discussing the besom, and if you did not listen to part one, please stop now and go back and do that, as there is a discussion at the beginning of that video that is very important to this and will lay the foundation for the rest of what we have to discuss. The ritual cord, the ritual robe, and the ritual mask are all very important. Now, anytime I go into my temple, I put my robe on. Once in a while, I'll put a mask on, but that's for something different. We'll get to that in a moment. And oftentimes, I will put on my cord. All of these are symbolic acts within themselves, forms of magic. When I go into my temple and I do magic and I have a robe on, my subconscious mind is getting used to having that robe on when I'm putting myself in this altered state of consciousness, purposely putting myself into a state of hypnosis. So, after about 3 to 6 months of doing that on a regular basis, every time I would put my robe on, I would take on that persona. I put away myself and bring out the magician. Okay, you feel yourself change over when you put on this ritual garb, and your mind prepares itself for the magical act that it's about to perform. If you do not have something that's dedicated to your ritual magical workings, outfit or robe that you wear, I highly recommend doing that because that in itself becomes a very potent and effective form of magic. The mask is also very important, especially when working with other spirits and working with spirit evocation and invocation. You wear a mask to shroud your identity, to hide your face. You are a being, you are not a person. That is one of the many reasons, but I'm sure we will also cover that in a video to come. The cord is multi-purpose. My cord is the length of my body exactly, as is tradition the way I was raised. Now, when I put this cord on, I'm tying magic around my waist. This is the magic that binds all of us together, all of humanity. This is the cord that connects us. However, also, and making what's called a pocket circle, that is also, I could take it off if I didn't have a circle handy, which I have a large rug that I use that is a pentagram, and I can stand within that. But if that was not available, I would be able to take that cord off and lay it on the floor in a circle, and I would have a readily made circle that is already imprinted with an intense amount of my energy. Ancestral representations, I feel, are very, very important on an altar. This is something that I learned from a hoodoo and voodoo practitioner. Now, many people feel that form of the art or that walk of spirituality is evil because there's a taboo on it, but really it's not. It spends a lot of time focusing on the ancestors and paying homage to them and honoring them for what they've done, your lineage, and so on and so forth. Just like with anything that can be used for good or for bad. However, voodoo and hoodoo in itself is not a dark art by any means. Make sure that you put a representation of one or more of your ancestors in your sacred space, especially if they were important to you and they held a near dear part in your heart. Now, with me, I use a representation for my grandfather, for instance. Now, some people will say, well, your grandfather was a very Christian man. Yes, he was, and although there is a lot of dogma in the Christian religion, once they exit the physical, corporeal body and enter into spirit, they become enlightened and learn many things and can see things from a different perspective. So I by no means think that although he was a Christian man, uh, he would be offended by me remembering him on a regular basis, especially remembering him when I'm trying to manifest positive things into my life. Also, something to think about would be having statues of your deities. Some people like to have statues of their the archangels, and things of that nature. These are physical representations of an energy that you work with on a regular basis, something to look upon, and automatically, whether consciously or subconsciously, you are right then thinking about that deity or that angel or that energy, whatever it may be. The ritualistic magic mirror is something that not everybody uses. Many ceremonial and high magicians will use this tool, but I haven't seen its use a whole lot outside of that aspect of the art. Mirrors are a very, very multi-purpose tool and also one of my favorites because it can be used for so many different things. The mirror can be used for scrying, looking inward. I have a very large parabolic mirror that is quite old that I transformed into a black mirror. And this parabolic mirror, if you look at the concave shape of a contact lens or something like that, this parabolic mirror is shaped in the same way. And what it does is when I am projecting psychic energy at the mirror, it catches it, informs it, and then it can be used to draw it back to me. You can also use them for remote viewing or scrying, looking into the future, looking into the past, pulling up past lives, consulting spirits. When I was brought up, I was raised that all mirrors, magic mirrors, have a spirit that should be assigned to them because mirrors are portholes and spirits can come and go in and out of them rather easily. So when you have a mirror that is used for the magical art, magical practice, it is highly important to have a spirit that presides and guards over that doorway to keep it safe. I also keep my mirror covered at all times. I am the only person to look upon my mirror. Nobody else will, nobody else has. That's just the way it is because it is imprinted with so much of my energy. And at this point, if somebody were to gaze upon the mirror, they would be able to gaze into myself, which is something that I really don't want to take place. Other things to take into consideration as energetic representations on your altar or in your sacred space are things like stones and shells, feathers, so on and so forth, elements from nature that you can bring in. Anytime you take anything out of nature, I feel that is very important to give thanks for it, both mentally, verbally, and to leave something in exchange. I carry tobacco in my car because I like to go out into the woods quite frequently, and sometimes the Creator will bless me with a staff or a wand or a stick that I can use to make some runes or a very cool rock or something of that nature. Well, I'm not just going to take something from the earth without giving something in exchange and creating that energetic circuit. So I feel that it's important when going out and taking these things to leave something behind in thanks and gratitude. Gratitude is very important. Just like with us, how many times will you bless a person if they're ungrateful for it? If you have a friend or a child or something of that nature, a sibling, and you keep on giving them gifts and they're not grateful and they just take it and walk away, well, how does that make you feel? Now, take that and apply it to the mother and the father. How does that make them feel? Same principle. I think that'll about wrap it up for our examination of the tools for now. There are more that we could go into. However, at this time, I feel that we've pretty much got a good handle on a lot of the tools of the craft. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to call me to If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to email me at frotterophil5@gmail.com. I thank you for listening, and I hope that this was educational and will help you on your magical journey. Until next time, blessed be.